Peace, family. This is your boy Gerald. It is Monday, the 15th of May, 2018. How is everybody doing? You're starting your week. I hope that you are well. For those who celebrated yesterday that sacred title, the living example of tenderness, kindness, compassion, as well as unconditional love. You know better as mom, mother. I hope you enjoyed your day. I really do. And for those who have yet to reach that stage in life, don't rush. Take your time, grow, go within yourself, discover all the uniqueness that make you you, because it is going to be the foundation of your experience that will help navigate your life. That is why it's so important, family, that you have first and foremost a relationship with yourself. That is why you've heard me echo through the years, do you know who you are? Because if you do, you understand not only what is required, critical thinking, unconditional love, as well as to be able to embrace the fortitude of your courage, even when your days have been challenged. It is important that you love you, have a conversation and a dialogue within yourself. Because, family, as I've echoed before, time and time again, we are what we attract. Our reality, our environment is interpreted and displayed by our mentality. So, with that being said, family, this is why I'm putting this out for the intended heart and mind. If you do not like what is being displayed in your reality, it is nothing but a call for you to go within yourself and look at what makes your ideologies, what makes your perceptions, and what makes the loyalty that keeps you there. Who am I talking to? Because it is not meant for you to spend another day without that beautiful smile. You know, the joy, the grace, the temperance, all of the things that are required to define not only your character, but it also solidifies your foundation. We are talking about you, but it will not make sense until you decide to do the work. Now, I know there are going to be countless people that will shut down right now because they think they've heard it before. But at the end of the day, who is living your life? Who is guiding the directions or your reactions of your steps? That is why every moment that I put out a message to the intended heart, intended mind, it is just to validate not only how precious you are, but also how priceless your being is needed. Why? It is because of the legacy. You know, the road less traveled, the path and journey that you are on. There was someone that had to embark that trail. Someone had to knock down those setbacks. Someone had to go forth to see what was on the other side. And it is required because there will be people that will come behind you. Not to sound morbid, But let's keep it real. Your legacy, it is all going to be solidified in that little hash map, the little hash mark that will be on your tombstone. Every joy, every pain, every up, every low will be compartmentalized in that hash. So it is your responsibility to ensure that your legacy is protected. But as I've always said before, it is not their responsibility to tell your story. It is yours to define it. That is why it is always important to be the best you. Maybe you might be in a moment where things are not revealing itself as it should. And you may be thinking that you are being delayed. Let me tell you something. You're not being delayed. You're being protected. There is a reason why things are playing out the way they are. It's not to punish you, it is to prepare you. But in 2018, there's an agenda going on, family. And the millennials, you know I love you. You are starting to see the cracks in the crevices of tasks still not done by those who were supposed to prepare you, leaving you to figure it out. But this is not the point the finger. This is an opportunity to define you. See, right now, there's a whole lot of emotional triggers being put out there. There's a whole lot of propaganda being put out there. There's a whole lot of examples of dumbing down. I'm not trying to be rude. I got to call it for what I see it. We use 6% of our beautiful mind. Every individual is given that. However, there's so much emphasis and energy so that you cannot use one. Do you not think that's coincidental? Yet, every day, there is examples of people screaming out through their bad behavior and actions to be validated at all costs, putting a price tag over someone or something that is priceless, and that is you. Now, millennials, you are being faced with odds where the deck was already set against you. And the only way that you're able to see it is if you allow yourself to be still, to allow yourself to be transparent, to allow yourself to heal. I know there's somebody saying, well, Joe, I didn't ask to be born, but I'm here. And everything that I've seen has been nothing but negative, nothing but painful, nothing but trauma over and over again. I could nip that in the bud right now and tell you, you do understand that that is nothing but a spiritual attack, because if you wasn't deemed for greatness, that would not be your reality. But there's obvious something that you are missing, something that is placed right before you that if you just stop, you'll see the nuances. You'll see the synchronicities. You may say, well, you sound like you're talking about history. In actuality, history is nothing but choice. You got to understand, family, that you are a spiritual being first and foremost, and your physicality is nothing but a mode of transportation on this earthly realm. So everything that has impact would not have any merit to your senses without your spirit to interpret. That is why words have power. That's why actions are felt. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all are still doing time in your mind about something that occurred years gone by. But really, do you know it is you that is holding yourself ransom because you're failing to allow yourself to grow? Public Enemy, legendary hip hop group in the 80s, had a lot of political songs out that called for awareness. Some would like to dumb it down and say call to action, but truth be told, it is about free will because no one can make you do what you don't want to do. Things just do not just happen. Life is not about shrugging your shoulders and saying, oh, well. You know what happens when you shrug your shoulders and say, oh, well, you're leaving the opportunity for accountability to not be claimed. The same thing is true. One person's truth is a perception to another, but you have to look at the inspiration of it. Why? Why it wasn't shown that way? Why was it the reaction of that? Well, it makes sense when you decide to go within. You can unlock that when you decide to unconditionally commit to you. That is why you hear people say time and time again, it's about change. It's about change. It's about change. But guess what? You don't need anybody's permission to change. Just like you don't need anyone's permission to define you. But the reaction will be if you choose to. Who am I talking to? And I'm not going to be winded on this because I just want to put this out before I start my day because I got a feeling that someone is milling over a decision and you don't know if that is the right decision to make. First of all, go within yourself. Second, what was life before that option or opportunity was presented? What was the impact if you choose it? And lastly, does that opportunity truly define who you are? Sometimes a choice is really a chance, but make sure that you go deeper. Make sure that whatever is being presented is a living example of what you stand on. And that in itself is something that I want to put out because you got a lot of people that have been conditioned by their environment to actually assume that there's no accountability for their actions. And you're seeing this play out day in, day out because there's no repercussions. But slowly but surely, there is a deterioration, a toxic example being condoned. If you know that's not your cup of tea, why are you drinking it? See, one thing that I've come to learn in my 49 years, yeah, I'm 49, and I really hope that God will bless me to see another 49 years. And the one thing that I've learned that you can't take it with you, but the actions of your choice, no time. But no matter what you do, you have to be comfortable in that. You've got to be able to stand on that because that is a representation of who you are. That's why you can't buy happiness. That's why you will never find peace of mind with fellowship because fellowship is nothing but like mindedness. That's why in 2018, there are so many people that do not know what integrity is. It's because they don't have integrity with themselves. And they're playing follow the leader with their mortality. So just imagine what life would be if you woke up tomorrow and you didn't have any drama. You could go off to work, earn your check, come home with no drama, have a good night's sleep, not worry about what was said yesterday, what you did with such and such, or if such and such is going to call you. You know, there's so much disrespect going on, family, that it's a silent agenda to make it the norm. But if it doesn't represent you, if you still don't understand it, put this in perspective. Is the person that you are now, and I mentioned this a long time ago, if you had the ability to see your great, great, great grandparent walk through the door, would they greet you with a smile or would they wish to beat you down because of what you represent? I know that sounds kind of wrong, but it's real because there's a lot of people that do not see the importance of their heritage. And the main reason is because the fact that they don't even know who they are. But you'll never hear that play out in media. You'll never see good examples of what it is to be at peace. You won't see that because at the end of the day, having an impulsive mindset equals impulsive revenue. And that is why there's a lot of people thinking right now to this day that they're winning. Why is it now that our society slowly but surely is starting to become proverbially like a war zone? Your neighborhoods are not being considered as sacred ground. I remember there was a time where your neighborhood, your neighbors, they looked out. You said hello. You made sure that whoever you broke bread with, you had a good rapport. Even if you didn't, there was a commonality because there were kids involved. But now it seems like nobody has time for the kids, and the kids nowadays are trying to raise themselves by what they see or constantly engineered in their minds because it's played out through media. But yet, every day, in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, the news is not good. Just another cycle of bad behavior, non accountability, and slowly, systematically, still, the devil's doing his work because it's all about being sensationalized. I ain't got to tell you. Just look at how it is when you drive to work or wherever. It's like NASCAR nowadays. There's no respect on the road no more. And people have a false sense of security because they have pressed metal in their console. They feel safe because they've got a little bit of steel and they feel that they can say and do whatever. You know what's more impactful than a piece of metal? And this isn't a rant about guns. The most impactful thing you'll ever come to possess is critical thinking. Critical thinking. Being able to make decisions for the betterment of your life. Sometimes that requires you to say this beautiful word called no. Right there, that word no will shake a whole lot of focus off of you. But the true gift of that word no is very simple because the word no does not mean forever. The word no means under review. No different to using the word love. You can't just love anybody, but you won't understand the magnitude of love until you decide to love yourself. It doesn't matter how bad and how far you travel to find love. You will come to understand until you decide to look within yourself first. Will you know not only how sacred it is, but you'll also know what is required to be the example. I remember there was a time where, which is kind of comical now because you've got all these wannabe organizations trying to politicize themselves. But in actuality, when you look at them, the consensus is everybody is broken. From the Me Too movement to the feminist movement to the LGBT movement, a whole lot of the MGTOW movement, all these people are broken because they refuse to see their worth. And they think that there's strength in numbers, but really do you will come to know that is nothing but a ruse. That is nothing but a tactic to keep you distracted. And as you already know, what Abe Lincoln said long ago, a divided house can't stand. So if the house is divided, how can you protect it? You definitely can't find security until you decide to go within yourself to see what's wrong. And maybe that moment, even if the solution is not there, the fact that you have the courage to acknowledge what is present, what exists, that brings you one step closer to peace of mind. But I got to flip it. As long as you choose to turn a blind eye, as long as you choose to give a pass, as long as you choose to just act like it has no value, don't worry about who the enemy is. Don't worry about it because you're doing the work anyway. There used to be a long-standing joke in society that said, anything of value, hide it in a book because minorities don't read. But actually, that was very metaphorical too, because that just showed that it had value if you decided to go and open that book. You are the history. You always was. But until you decide to stand on it, you will never understand the value that is being bestowed. And lastly, there's a lot of hypocrites out here in this world, family. The ones that don't mind standing on their position. And a lot of them are broken. A lot of them are cowardly too. But the one thing I've realized with this social disdain, because this is this divided house, none of these people, if given the chance to ask the question, why are you angry? They can't answer it because they have yet to identify who they are. I know there's a lot of people say, well, Gerald, you're talking about racism. Racism has always been there because racism is nothing but a branch from the tree known as eugenics. But the roots stem from the mind. And the real question is, you want to get rid of racism? You need to look at the source. And when you look at the source, don't look at what's broken, but look at it as then there must be something that they're afraid that you may find out. And lastly, my minority family, my melanated people, some of that bad roots looks just like you too. Did you hear me? And maybe that's the reason why our beloved wildflowers, our women, hate themselves. Yeah, I said it. They're too busy trying to be the follower than be themselves, which is contradictory because I remember there was a time where a woman would get offended if you glanced at her cleavage. But in 2018, it's all about putting it on display for revenue. If that ain't emotional prostitution, I don't know what to tell you. Because you're priceless. Always have, always will be. Lil Ray Ray don't care. He's laughing at you because you're getting mad at his rejection, but you're still dancing to his tune. But yet you got people mad at R. Kelly. But guess what? Behavior is still behavior, no matter the age. It's still misogynist. And no, Kings, there's just as many women doing the same right back. That's what you had people say, I'm gonna use what I got to get. Well, what ain't that what a prostitute do? I'm gonna use my femininity to better myself. Isn't that what manipulation is about? You're putting a price tag on your respect, and we're wondering why these STDs are not going away. And oh yeah, by the way, family, there is a stronger strain of HIV out there. Just just as they're not going to tell you, Queens, they got STDs out here that are destructive to the point that it will inhibit you from becoming somebody's mother, turning you sterile. But this ain't nothing new because that was already prophesied in Proverbs. See, until you see your work, the world can't the world can't relate. And I really believe that that's what history is all about because I really believe that history serves one divine purpose, and that's God telling mankind, do you understand what I'm showing you? Do you see what I have allowed you to see. Because if you did, you will see your wisdom, you would see your worth, and you would also know what is priceless, and that is you. Meanwhile, we want to turn around and, excuse me, put a beat on and dance our problems away. And you know, it's funny because last week or so, I've been having Prince on my mind. And one song in particular that kept just milling in my brain was 1999. And the one lyric that kept echoing in my mind was when he said, "The sky was all purple and people running everywhere, trying to run from my destruction, like I didn't care." The greatest destruction ever that mankind can bestow on itself is destruction of the mind. That's the greatest impact ever because, as you know, when you hear somebody say that person is crazy, they lost their mind, then that means they don't have sense of bearing on themselves. Therefore, they are walking dead. Now, just add the fact that you got drugs and alcohol out here. You've got so many distractions out here to keep you from discovering you. Has you ever realized or ever questioned why they want to keep you distracted? And what I mean why, I mean as a just imagine what life would be if you were 100% in, all in, committed to yourself. You would be a threat. You would be a threat. Your dreams would be manifested, and life as you know it. Just something to think about. The question is, what you gonna do about it? Peace.